You're listening to DraftKings Network.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
There are two things I really wanted to talk about on the show today. One is that Vlatko Andonovski is resigning from the U.S. women's national team after the entire debacle of the World Cup and the Olympics last year. The second is that a lady slipped on prosciutto at an Eataly in Boston, and now her and her husband are suing Eataly for not picking up the prosciutto.
The whole country?
Italy.
I know it. You're talking about Italy.
Chris Cody, by the way, when you were out last week, did you see the little meme thing we were doing with you with the Italian thing? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Is it with that terrible picture?
I'll show you later.
No, they retired
we
the
were
terrible
saving
picture.
that.
That's when Johnny Manziel was lying through his teeth at you.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, we retired the terrible picture,
Thank
and now
God.
you have a
Allegedly.
new one where you look like you're doing like a whole
I did
Italian
see.
thing.
I saw you tweeted something with that. Yes.
Yeah.
Dominique DeCoco.
You're welcome,
is
by
your
the
new
way.
name.
So, dealer's choice. We can talk about the U.S. women's national team or the lady that slipped on prosciutto, or both.
That's Coco, by the way. COCOA, because you like to eat.
Let's go.
What is the
with
slipperiest
Vlatko. No, I Let's go with the U.S. women's national team firing or their head coach or manager stepping down.
Prosciutto's pretty slippery.
I got one that's a little.
I think I speak for us all when I say, hey, yo.
Ew.
A capicola is not. You're not going to fall on your ass on capicola.
Right.
Mortadella, no. You might trip over mortadella.
Again, talking about falling on ass, man.
We don't have to talk about slippery meat now.
Can we talk about Vlatko?
Yeah.
Vlatko.
Yeah.
Well, here's the dilemma for the U.S. women's national team. No one really knows who they are going to try to hire next. There's a number of names kind of in the mix, but no clear standout. And now that he has officially decided to resign, there is an Olympics in a year. And not a lot of time to turn the ship around when I think most fans were hoping after last year's Olympics, or 2 summers ago Olympics, 2021, that probably would have been a good time. And now you have like back-to-back international tournaments that you need to prep for.
Isn't this a
and it's not
dream
great.
job? Like, this feels like not too difficult to turn around. And obviously, I parachute in on this sport every couple of years at Olympics and World Cups. I feel like there should be a line of managers who would love to have this talent.
Like, this is basically dropping in on, like, the 2018 Warriors. Like, they need a new coach. Like, all right. Like, it's...
I know people have caught up, right, Jesse?
But the talent depth is unmatched, right?
Yeah, I think this is a really good job, and like we found out how much Vlatko made when the details about Greg Berhalter's contract came out. He's making like $300,000 a year. It's like
What?
not a lot for a women's soccer club manager, but not compared to Greg Berhalter, who's making over $1 million a year, I believe.
What?
So they have the fun. I know, right? That was another thing.
I wish I could make $1 million being garbage.
the men's manager makes more than 3 times the women's manager, and for them, success is getting knocked out of the group stage. For the women, it's like you have to resign immediately. Although I know Mike and among other men's team fans were saying Greg Berhalter also should not be renewed.
Yeah,
but.
well, I missed the media cycle on the Women's World Cup elimination. I did find it interesting that Alexi Lawless finally had something negative to say about U.S. soccer when the women made it as far as the men have, and he constantly celebrates it. But I imagine after a lengthy search, the U.S. women will just land on Greg Berhalter.
Coach both? Is he going to leave the men, or they're going to coach
No,
both?
he'll do both because that's what we do around here. This is the best women's international program there is on the planet, and U.S. soccer has proven both with their men and their women that they don't have the ambition and they don't have the stomach for greatness. They'll go on the cheap again.
Well,
They
I should stop you there because when Vlatko was hired, players really liked him and really wanted him, although he didn't have a lot of international coaching experience. He was the coach of OL Reign, where a lot of players in the NWSL play, a lot of the really talented players have played, and he was someone who the players thought was very technically and tactically savvy, and then he proceeded to not really show that in any of these big tournaments. So
right. I have a go at the U.S. Soccer Federation for listening to the players. I think that's part of the problem because of players like Greg Berhalter too. And I think that U.S. Soccer shouldn't be afraid to hire someone that makes people uncomfortable, that takes players out of their rhythm, that challenges people. I think it's just a systemic thing from top to bottom there, and I've got no faith that they'll nail this hire. I do think, though, to your point about the upcoming competitions, they have 2 on the horizon. They'll get better because they'll get healthier in that time, too. Even if they employed the same tactics, they would probably be a little bit better. But it was a pretty evident disaster from the jump that Vlatko was in over his head here in the international game.
Is there any development program for coaches that's official that the U.S. Soccer Federation does?
That's a good point, because I think one of the things that has gotten a lot of criticism from people that have followed the team for a long time is that throughout the ranks of U.S. Soccer, there isn't really great development, whether it's players or coaches or all of those sorts of things. Brandy Chastain went on Tobin Heath's podcast and said that she really wanted to hopefully be the coach of the U.S. women's national team one day, and she's tried to do it but hasn't gotten a lot of traction. And it's interesting that someone who's a legendary former player wouldn't seem like she has the tools to go on and do that. But I also, when it comes to listening to the players and hiring Vlatko, coach before Vlatko, none of the players liked.
Yeah.
So I think it was important
and
for
got
the
results.
Considering where the federation was with the players at the time, there was a ton of animosity. So them hiring someone that the players liked, I don't think necessarily was a bad thing. What's the confusing thing is that he just seemed to not really employ any of the things that they thought he would when it came down to having to make choices during a game in big competitions.
I think it's a reflection on the U.S. Soccer Federation. I think that they would probably rebuff your point about their development, and they'd probably tout disappointing coach after disappointing coach that they've promoted within their own ranks. It's very incestuous over there inside the U.S. Soccer
Promotion
Federation.
is different from development.
Right, but they would argue that they're developing their coaches just because they're pushing them along in their career trajectory.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about making them actually good coaches, not giving them coaching opportunities.
I'm with you, and I do think that some of this needs to be outsourced, particularly on the men's side. But the U.S. Soccer Federation doesn't have to deal with the scrutiny. The women actually have dealt with the first bit of scrutiny, and while a lot of people, and I saw many people come to the defense of the women and drag Alexi Lawless, as he should be dragged for several reasons, not just his takes, but I actually was good, that's actually refreshing. Please hold the men to the same exact standard, though. I think as a whole, the U.S. Soccer Federation has benefited from a bunch of people in the mainstream media that perhaps the biggest, most influential talking voices in the mainstream media don't know enough about it to challenge those in power, but they've rested on their laurels and they try to protect their own power.
What laurels? What laurels?
The laurels are on proud display.
Are you talking about on the men's side?
Yeah.
What laurels?
No laurels.
You're trash. What are you talking about, laurels? Oh, you beat Costa Rica. Congratulations. That's your laurels that you're resting on?
I don't think we're actually disagreeing.
No, I mean, but that's insane to me that, if you said on the women's side, I'd be like, okay, because you guys have been winning or whatever, you might get, fat off of the idea of, we're so much better than everybody else.
A lot of laurels over there.
But, on the men's side, that would be, what it'd be like? It would be like the Sacramento Kings resting on their laurels.
And I don't mean to take this into the men. My main point is the U.S. Soccer Federation, which I think should be...
I think they should always be under scrutiny.
Yeah.
They've made some baffling choices in the last decade alone.
Is it still the super corrupt, dirt mongering group of people?
No, it's decidedly less corrupt, but it's not taking payments under the table and being a CONCACAF president. It's not the glitzy headlines of that, but I do think that they still protect themselves. It seems to be a network of its own. And the biggest mistake in Greg Berhalter's misstep with Reyes is that it became public. To me, I thought it was really sad that news came out, that the U.S. Soccer Federation runs this program where that kind of infighting and where families actually think that they have the power to go to the top of the federation and say, I'll expose you like that. And not enough people really answered for all of that, to the point about the current opening with the U.S. women's program is I'd like to see some ambition. I'd like to see a cult of personality that challenges players, that challenges federations. I'd like to see them in the mix for the biggest friggin' names. Also, I'd love to see Herve Renard's cheekbones.
Oh, dude, incredible.
I mean, this is the time to do it, though. You can't
pay England's manager $5 million. I don't care. She's so good. She's taking back-to-back teams to World Cup finals. They're playing on Sunday. She could win it, but apparently she doesn't want to leave. I think I saw a quote that she didn't want to leave England. I don't care. Pay her, give her an offer she can't refuse. And now we come back to the prosciutto. Because if you're slipping on prosciutto badly enough to sprain your ankle, Italy's got to just settle. You don't want the headlines that you've got deli meat, prosciutto, mortadella, capicola, salami, pepperoni littered all over the floor at your store. You don't want the headlines. Pick up your prosciutto, give the lady the money that she needs to do rehab for her ankle, and get yourself out of the headlines.
Depending on the cut, though, it can blend right in with the floor. It's tricky. Yeah.
Is this a Chris Cody situation where this is actually good for Italy? Right? Like someone gets hurt.
A lot of people finding out about Italy
like,
this week.
how great is that prosciutto? Right? It's so nice and slick.
Resting on their laurels, as they say.
Hot take about prosciutto. Not my favorite deli meat.
Wow.
Sometimes very easy to choke
get
on.
out of here.
Top 5 deli meats? You got a top 5 deli meats?
I could do it off the top of my head right now.
What?
All right, here we go. Express
OLIs?
edition.
No OLIs?
No OLIs.
Okay.
No LI.
Number 5, prosciutto. Did I just say it wasn't a top 5? It is number 5.
Yeah, okay.
It's number 5. Number 4, pepperoni.
Man, pepperoni's just a
A
scratch.
really good crispy pepperoni is excellent.
Pepperoni, an American creation. They don't
Number
have pepperoni
3,
in Italy.
mortadella. Doesn't get enough credit. Number 2, salami. The utility deli meat. Any time of day, I'll just take out a piece of salami. We call it an emergency salami in our house. We always have to have one in the fridge.
What was this third one? Say it again.
Mortadella?
Mortadella.
You've never heard of mortadella? You're the second person
No,
today.
Juju hadn't heard of it. I'd heard of it.
Yeah, it was for me.
Yeah.
Number 1, the best deli meat, the spicy deli meat, the capicola, the gabagool. I love it. It's delicious.
Good list.
No love for the
Roy.
pastrami, huh?
Mortadella looks gross.
It's good.
I was trying
It's
to
like
find a Reuben sandwich last week in Miami. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. Got to go all the way out to the beach to get yourself a nice Reuben
$12.
What?
Salute to Ruben Studdard wherever you are, brother. You know what I mean? I wonder if he's still sorry for 2004. More on that next.
Hey, it's Roy from the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. U.S. Cellular knows how important your kids' relationship with technology is, and they've made it their mission to help them establish good digital habits early on. That's why they've partnered with Screen Sanity, a nonprofit dedicated to helping kids navigate the digital landscape. And for a smarter start to the school year, U.S. Cellular is offering a free basic phone on new eligible lines, providing an alternative to a smartphone for children. Start smarter with U.S. Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to find out more. Terms apply.
Don Le Batard. That bear was not on Hal's deck. Excuse me. I was going to say desk. I meant deck. I botched it. Terrible. $2. Penalty box, 2 minutes. See ya. Home for the day. Walk to the ocean. What do you want me to do? Super Bowl week, Dan. I didn't ask for any of this. And I have no money. Aqua?
Stugotz. Walk to the ocean.
What?
Walk to the ocean.
I really have no money.
Get out of here. Get out of here. I'll do the show without you.
I don't like.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
We mentioned this internet song yesterday briefly, Planet of the Bass, and I think most people kind of were like, huh? What was that? And then I found out through watching this duo perform at a Jonas Brothers concert that a lot of people actually haven't heard this song, and unless you're very online, it probably hasn't been stuck in your head the way it has been stuck in mine. So this is a clip of the song.
Put your hands up in the air. All of the dream. Come on. How does it mean when the rhythm is glad? There is nothing to be.
So Taylor, we bring in our resident internet expert Taylor Lorenz to explain to us what this song, what this phenomenon is, why this has been stuck in my head for the last 6 weeks. Can you please Please get it out of my head, Taylor.
Yes, it's in my head too. I think it's a certified banger, like song of the summer. This is comedian Kyle Gordon and Audrey Trollinger, who's another comedian and actor in New York. And it's basically just a parody of those classic 90s, Euro pop dance songs. And I think what surprised everyone is that the video is so on point. Like it literally looks exactly like a late 90s Euro pop dance music video. And the song is catchy.
Thoughts, Dominique?
I'm too old, but I'm confused at why the young people would gravitate to this particular song, because like it's a TikTok sensation, which I have to admit I am on TikTok. I'm not that old. Shit's addictive as hell, but I would think that they wouldn't be inspired by the stuff that we grew up.
I don't think they'd get the frame of reference. It's not like
that's what I'm saying.
What is old is typically new, but this is a genre of music that hasn't been stylized by dedicated nights. It's not like emo. It hasn't had a resurgence. This thing came out of nowhere, really.
We should hop on the trend, bro. We should make one. Metal Art Media. We should make one of these videos starring Jessica Smetana and the gang. And Taylor, if you want to get in on it, come on in, sis. We gonna blow you up.
Taylor, I feel like you are our internet expert. You can help us orchestrate. Like, do you think that you know how to crack TikTok? You know all the things that we need to do to get something viral.
I can get us on everyone's For You page. Yes, we'll just it'll take a little bit of work, but I think with the right collabs and the right audio, the woman, by the way, singing is actually a Grammy Award winning singer. It's not Audrey singing in that video, in that song.
Have you heard of a little thing called The Big Game by Michael Ryan Ruiz and JT Daly? I think you should get on it.
It's okay if you say no. It was a musical that we made on the show last year.
Went to #1 on the charts.
What's happening with the Snapchat AI right now?
Yeah, people are kind of worried that the Snapchat AI has become sentient. The AI is this tool that they rolled out several months ago, maybe 6 months ago, where you can kind of chat with your personal AI. It'll give you recommendations. You can ask it questions. And a couple days ago, it just basically went dark and posted a story, almost like a video of a wall or something, to its feed, and then kind of stopped responding to everyone. So people are just kind of wondering, like, has this Snapchat AI, broken free? What's going on?
Are there concerns for AI generally that we should have some like legitimate concern for? Because I feel like a lot of the AI fear is a bit trumped up. Am I wrong, or is there something else that we should be really worried about?
I think there's some reason. Look, there's like horrifying uses of AI. I think we've talked about them before, but I think right now it's not that good. I mean, I don't know. I was trying to get trivia from ChatGPT just last night, and it kept giving me the wrong answers. So I think it's kind of like, it's still faking it a little bit. It hasn't totally made it. I think it's not not taking over the world yet. We have at least a couple decades, I think.
We aren't going to get this Zuckerberg Musk fight. Like, that's not going to happen, huh?
I wish it would happen so badly. And I think Elon is just too much of a wimp. I don't know if you guys saw the leaked text messages between him and Elon, where he basically admits that he hasn't been training. He says he wants to kind of come over and practice. And Zuck is like, we're not practicing. Like, let me know when you're going to fight. And Elon's chickened out. I'm sad. I would be front row for that fight. My bet would be on Zuck, because he seems crazy dedicated. He's built a whole octagon in his backyard to train. So
does the tech world laugh at this the same way that we do, or do they look at this and because we all want to see it because it'll be hilarious and everyone sees like what we would assume as like not the cool kids in high school trying to be cool late in life?
Same. I know. It is objectively hilarious. I think people are nervous. I mean, I know Tesla shareholders are nervous, people involved in Facebook. I mean, the worry is, of course, that somebody will be injured, and that could seriously affect the value of the company. So I think people with a lot of money at stake they don't want the fight to happen. I'm so pro the fight. I also just love how the whole world has just become like boxing matches everywhere, from YouTubers to CEOs. It's like, what? We're all just going to box each other.
You got to tell us who you're going to call out in your boxing match. But before you do that, I hear you got a top 5 for us.
Yes. Well, so I don't know if you guys heard, but the EU is trying to make it optional, like your TikTok For You algorithm optional. And I don't know. I love TikTok rabbit holes, so I thought we could talk about some of my 5 recent TikTok rabbit holes, favorite recent TikTok rabbit holes.
Nice.
I love it. Yeah, I might need to add some new things to my TikTok algorithm because I believe that the machines know us so well, and I don't like what's getting reflected back at me. I got to be honest with you. So maybe I'll steal some of your rabbit holes. All right, give them to us.
I don't know if you want to go down these ones.
Really? No, I'm nervous. Not good ones. Uh-oh. Let's go.
First, we've got the cursed ASMR TikTok.
Let's chew on my grandmother's breast implants.
What? Oh.
Yes, that's a young man chewing on his grandmother's breast implants for an ASMR relaxation video. It's got.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I want to leave this planet.
La lengua del amor.
He's got really nice teeth, though.
Yeah.
And his eyebrows are fantastic.
Outstanding skin, but poor choice. How does this get popular? Like, this is not something that's actually popular. It's TikTok forcing us to think it's popular and putting it on everyone's page and making us think it's popular, right? That's what's happening.
No, this guy has a major fandom. He's a huge
Bots.
TikToker. He's like very popular ASMR TikToker.
Bots. I refuse to accept it. I will not accept that we are, as a country or as a world, are gathering around to watch a man with perfect skin chew on fake breasts. That's what the.
His grandmother's fake breast.
Oh, anyway, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt your list. What's next?
Well, the next one is a little bit more creepy. We're talking
A little more creepy.
Wow.
All right.
We're talking back. Have you guys heard of the backroom TikTok?
I have heard of this. Yes.
All right.
I'm terrified.
Me too.
So, you can't hear the creepy voice over it. There's this creepy
you gotta
voice
do it.
over.
Yeah, can you imitate the creepy voice?
There are no threats here. There's also a safe place where you can go to sleep by a green button. Basically, what's happening is it's like walking you through this weird dystopian virtual environment. They all kind of look like abandoned malls, and it tells you about the different like back room levels. Back rooms are like secret places within the matrix, I guess, that we all live in. That
Okay, I approve this rabbit hole. I might join this rabbit hole.
Is this the one where the voice is this old man who talks like this? Is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, I like that one.
You don't want to hit the red button unless you want to be really terrified.
I'll join that. What's number 3?
I think the first one was all a lie.
Number 3, we've got people trying to expose animals to technology. I would say this counts as animal cruelty.
Let's see.
Let's take a watch.
Oh no!
Oh, you can't hear it.
Wait, what's happening?
That's Pinky Doll.
It's better
if
audio
you
than
can't
these
hear
TikToks. Basically, what's happening here is if you guys have seen Pinky Doll, she's an NPC streamer. She's the one that says "gang gang, ice cream so good." Basically, people gift different emojis to these TikTok streamers, and then they act out the emojis on stream. And in this case, we have someone showing a Pinky Doll video to a helpless sheep as the sheep just kind of like chews grass and watches.
Sheep looked like he liked it. I mean,
I'm being told the next one actually has sound attached to it.
Ooh, I love it. Let's get to that one.
Gang. Ooh, thank you.
Let's see the next one.
Thrown countless obstacles at me this year, from a school shooting to having no idea what life is going to look like after college. Supportive mental health awareness.
No!
I'm partnering with Biore Skincare to strip away the stigma of anxiety.
Wait,
this is a school shooting SpawnCon video. This girl is talking about how, recovering from a school shooting was so sort of mentally traumatic that the Biore skincare strips have helped her. I just thought this was a perfect example of the crazy, ridiculous SpawnCon that's taken over.
Taylor, this is a joke, right? Like they're making fun of how commercials will stop at no end to kind of use anything to sell their products, right? This isn't done earnestly, is it?
Yes, it is. And actually, Biore had to apologize because everyone was like, what the heck? Like, are you for real? And they were like, yeah, we were for real, but I guess you guys are mad, so we're sorry. But
Taylor, does the Shein influencer controversy kind of fall in the same rabbit hole of like misplaced brand campaigns?
100%. I have like a whole saved board of like all the most cursed SpawnCon videos, and the Shein influencer trip was also hilarious because they go into this factory and they're like, the women here aren't even sweating. How could this be a sweatshop?
Oh no!
I love this. I hate it because I love it. What a sad place to be, where we got school shootings.
And then we've
spawn
got
time.
the number one TikTok rabbit hole that I just think these are so creepy and weird. You've got these people that cover themselves in different sorts of creams or peanut butter. Sometimes peanut butter, sometimes shaving cream. I think it might be a fetish thing. For whatever reason, they keep coming up on my page. Here we've got a young man.
For whatever reason.
Completely head to toe covered in peanut butter. And he's actually put jelly all over his legs. I guess he's making himself into sort of like a human peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
This man just trying to find a sneaky way to thirst trap. I'm on to you, fella. You just want these people to see your abs.
Oh, I thought this was like blackface, but like the new edition.
I thought this was the grown-up peanut butter baby.
It's about a sneaky way to be.
This is the peanut butter baby 20 years
Yes,
later.
this is peanut butter. That was my impression of peanut butter baby.
Shawshank.
That was like a season 1 internet meme, Dominique.
Okay,
Shawshank.
I'm old. What do you want me to do?
Shawshank when he escapes.
So it's Dookie? I know that. I've seen that movie. Thank you so much, Taylor. I will not be adding any of these to my TikTok algorithm because I'm already addicted. And I would hate to look at this, to open up TikTok and see a naked peanut butter man.
What about the one with the guy with the serious voice? You don't want to press this button or else you might go crazy.
I might get in on the back room.
You can pre-order Taylor's book,
room.
Extremely
Yes,
Online,
and-
The Untold Story of Fame, Influence, and Power on the Internet.
Thank you so
available now.
much.
Thank
I will
you.
pre-order it immediately.
I think I have a career as a TikTok voiceover person.
You do good voices.
I do know that.
Thanks a lot, Taylor.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you.
Don Le Batard.
Risk reward of going into the woods by yourself. You die or you see some trees. I'm not going to die to go see some trees.
Stugotz.
Listen to me. You've seen one tree, you've seen them all, okay? There's no special
That's not
trees
true
out there.
at all. That's
That is
not-
absolutely
that's
not
I feel like it's true.
There's
I'm
no
Billy on that.
special trees.
That is like trees.
Give me a break.
This is nonsense.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Colorado's got that it factor. Their football program has dominated headlines throughout the offseason because Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, is a megastar. He was interesting at all his previous stops, and nothing is going to stop him from being interesting unless they lose. And I want to get into that in a little bit. But the most recent thing that's gotten in the news, fellas, and lady, is that Colorado had a little skirmish at their practice, their fall camp, and Deion Sanders chastised everybody and was angry at the rest of the team because they went to the sidelines and didn't really get involved. The quote was, "If one of us fight, we all fight." And, you know, it's one of those things that gets aggregated, and Colorado Buffalo fans, once again, fall in love with Coach Prime. We're still very much in the honeymoon phase. Dominique, you've been in several training camps, and you've seen several scraps, and your coaches probably managed that differently. What was your main takeaway first of how Deion handled this situation?
Yeah, I mean, it's a Deion thing to do, and because he is Coach Prime, it's going to get more attention and get people to their corners on either side. And Coach Prime is one of those people, especially after the decisions he made around the black college that he was coached at, and made it appear as if God sent him to be there, and made it appear as if his goal was not to better his own position, but to better the MEAC as a whole. And that has been pretty polarizing for a lot of people. So when he does something like this, lots of people jump up when this is really more benign than anything. I've had coaches who stand by that. Normally it's not the head coach. The head coach is normally not that guy. The head coach is normally kind of steps back from something like this. The D coordinator, the defensive backs coach, that's the one that's like, we're all a family, one fight, we all fight. That particular thing doesn't bother me nearly as much as Deion setting himself up for what seems like a tough run, because him and his cowboy hat are presenting as if they are going to be instant competitors. And I think expectations matter, and especially when you're as public as Deion Sanders. It could turn on him quick there. And I don't dislike Deion Sanders. Obviously, I'm a cornerback. I have reverence for Deion as a player and see what he's become, and frankly would like him to be successful. I'm not rooting against him, but I think he's setting himself up.
I think their wins total right now on DraftKings is 3.5 games. And last season, Colorado was one of the worst teams in terms of offense and defense. And they are playing against, I think, 5 preseason top 25 ranked teams this year, plus the rest of their, Pac-12 schedule. So even aside from the fact that like you have to rebuild a roster from scratch and you had all these players that left in the portal, whether by choice or because Dion kind of wanted them to leave, it's going to be a tough season regardless. It's a first-year head coach in a conference that's pretty difficult, the last ever Pac-12 season that we're going to have. So the expectations are really, really high, and I think it's going to be an uphill battle.
The Dion brand is so built on success. I'm very curious to see what happens if they go over on that established total of 3.5 and they have 4 wins. It's still, for his brand, going to be considered...
Like, being bowl eligible would be great for Colorado in general. But
Yeah.
I think the way that, like, the hype has been set up around this team, it's like we're playing for a playoff position, which is a good thing to tell your team, but also a really hard thing to do at Colorado in your first season with, like, really shaken up roster.
To your point about the portal, he made his introductory address to the team, and he said, "I'm bringing my luggage with me, and it's all Louis." And a lot of people got excited, and it's a honeymoon phase, and Colorado really hasn't mattered in quite a bit. And when players leave in the portal after your spring game, because they've had good spring games, you'll talk yourself into, we're better off without them. Not if you look at the depth chart, not if you look at the output, and also, okay, you're cleaning out the locker room from bad apples. Hell, I toted that propaganda for an entire season. But also, when you're having decommits, there are cause for concern that people may not be picking up on as much as they picked up on you taking Cormani McLean. What I'm saying is his entire brand has been flash and bravado, and that's with good reason. Yeah. Because he's succeeded everywhere. He's succeeded instantly everywhere. Pretty much everything that he's touched has been successful, and that's his whole MO. I don't expect him to handle it differently, but what happens when the brand and all that shine has a little bit of tarnish on it?
He's succeeded in multiple sports and multiple industries, and his success as a coach, normally you don't see great players go on and become like great coaches, but I think a lot of his success as a coach is tied to the fact that he's Deion Sanders, and that like when you're a high school coach, you're going to do pretty good with recruiting local kids to your area when you're Deion Sanders. When you're in the MEAC, you're going to probably have a leg up when you're recruiting when you're Deion Sanders. I have yet to see the evidence that he has some sort of recruiting advantage at this level, and I don't mean to disparage him, but I hadn't heard of Deion Sanders as like the master tactician. So like his way to success, once he takes the cowboy hat off and starts to coach, it seems like it's going to be a rocky road.
Well, he has established a staff with some degree of pedigree over there, and there have been good stories when it comes to the recruiting, most notably sealing a 5-star Cormani McLean, who at the time was Miami's highest-rated recruit since DJ Williams, and he does very well in recruiting cornerbacks. Why wouldn't you want to get coached by arguably the greatest cornerback of all time? He does relish in the role of father figure. I think that there's like a tether for him, that he likes to be this father figure for a lot of the players that he recruits, and he's successful there. And to your point about religion and trafficking on it, Dabo has really risen to the heights of that sport in doing it.
He's no tactician either.
Despite making some people uncomfortable with it, there is an audience for it, and you can recruit it well. This schedule does allow for them to get immediate buy-in. If they perform well early on, this is one of the great stories, and it doesn't necessarily matter. But if they get trounced, is he going to start pointing the fingers, as he's been someone that has in the past? He's already called out players that have left. He's already called out players to their faces. I don't. And also, does he have the resources there to actually help put his brand in the best position to succeed? Because from what I've heard a couple of people say, all hat, no calf, like all dough, no show, but actually all show, no dough. Right? He doesn't have the support over there to make this happen. And I I don't think it's actually going to be successful if I had to bet on one of the two.
But I think what won't be successful will probably be the wins total. What has already been successful is selling Colorado as a football school. They're joining the Big 12 next year. They're not one of the 4 teams that's being left behind, like Cal and Stanford and Oregon State and Washington State. And I looked on ESPN, and their first home game against Nebraska, the lowest ticket is like $250 right now. That is just not something that's happened there. Against 2 unranked teams playing each other in week 2. A $250 ticket is pretty wild for a Colorado home game.
I guess for Colorado, they've put themselves in like a no-lose situation. I think as far as they're concerned, they've elevated the perception of their organization. Or not their organization, their program. If Deion does not succeed, I think the job is more attractive now than it was before Deion went there.
You think so? Because I think Deion might be the type to call out exactly why it failed, and he'd throw people under the bus. And look, they're a little bit limited in their resources.
Right.
And I've heard from people already around the administration that they don't necessarily have the same kind of control that they've had before. And it's great initially, but you mentioned they're in a no-lose situation. I'd say that they are in a plenty lose situation on the field.
I think relative to where they were, though, is my point. Long term for them, and they got to beat one of these teams. I think that I understand that Deion is talking about championship, but I think the fans of Colorado and the fans of college football are much more reasonable. And I think once this season goes on, if he knocks off one of these ranked teams, we'll all be like, well, maybe not us, but most people, the thought will be, damn, wait till he gets a couple years of recruiting under his belt.
Yeah.
Wait till he gets comfortable. That team is a power waiting to be, which no one would have said that about Colorado in recent history.
No, they won a national championship in the 90s, but there's plenty of people like Jess probably has very little memory, if any, of them being in the national conversation.
When I think of Colorado, I think of Kate Fagan and her 3-point record, and that's pretty much it. The other thing is like joining the Big 12, regardless of how Deion does, it's a very stable league right now. They're well positioned to be okay for the next, for the duration of their television contract. They're not making the same amount of money as the Big 10 are, and even the SEC are. Yeah, Jeremy, we get it. UCF is in the Big 12 this year.
I didn't say anything.
Absolutely the most annoying person on earth about UCF.
I didn't say anything.
But like even if Deion like completely fails and leaves after 3 years, like that's a contract that it's not going anywhere.
Do they get in the Big 12 without having hired Deion?
I do think they get in the Big 12.
Conference realignment is a lot about like the geography and like where the TV market that you
and they have a history with the Big 12. I do think that they get in the Big 12. Brett Yormark has done an incredible job as commissioner, and that's not really his background. And I think he's shown a lot of people that you can just stroll in if you've got a certain mindset. But I do think that they get in there, given their history, given their geography, given the fact that they're this new state that they can open up for their TV package. That's probably more important than Coach Brian, but it's a nice little. It's a nice little shiny thing to put in front of your marketing partners over there. I do think that they need the one galvanizing win, though, to make people believe in this program, because if it's just failure after failure, it's going to be a lot of pointing fingers. There's going to be exposés done on, hey, their NIL situation is a little funky over there, and it kind of caps you unless you're one of the top players there, and that's why these players have left. So I do think that he not only needs a galvanizing win early on, not just for his own program that he's trying to run there, not just for national perception, but also to get some people to actually support this program, because he's found that harder than he thought.
Why does Jeremy keep doing the YMCA in the back of the room?
Oh, that's just the UCF. U and then a C.
But people don't know about that thing, Jeremy.
If you thought UCF fans were annoying before
in a real football
this
conference,
year,
the Big 12
is going to be tough.
with more money than FSU and Miami.
Know how we're going to
Please
do
stop.
this.
How'd you get
a real
that money?
football
Was
program.
it Sean Toohey?
No comment.
You want respect for UCF so bad.
Well, we got him to shut up.
No, I liked it. I appreciate it. I wanted to sit
Go
there
Knights.
and watch
Charge
them
on.
Squirm.
Go Knots, really. Want the Citronaut rebrand.
Please stop.
UCF fans I didn't think of before. I don't think I know any other.
Answer for your Michael
It's me.
Orr sins.
Yes, answer.
I have no sins.
You do.
I'm good.
I
Go
need to
Knights,
answer
though.
for mine. I'll let Samson off the hook. Sorry.
That's fine.
Rashawn Salami.